you didn't play the first one or didn't pay attention to the story, I would definitely seek out a full recap, because there is one in the game, but it is kind of just the actor who plays Guillermo del Toro just narrating a PowerPoint for 5 minutes. It isn't really the best recap.
That was like the number one question. I put up a poll or a post on in our Facebook group asking about, telling people to send us questions about Death Stranding 2, and that was the number one, is like, will I like this one if I didn't like the first one?
I never want to say just no, right? Because I would encourage everyone. It is like one of the 3 best games I've played this year by far, I think, and I'd want people to give it a go. But also, if you didn't like the first one, I wouldn't be confident in saying this will turn it around for you. In a way of like catching up with lore, this one does actually have like the Final Fantasy 16 style like lore device. It's called the corpus in this, where exactly where you can basically it's a really sexy glossary where you can just look up like what every what a still mother is, what an extinction entity is, what even the chiral network is, and it has a story so far. But so it is very handy. But I would still find a good half an hour long story recap if you can on YouTube before.
I absolutely adore the story so far recap, because I played it for a bunch for a few days and then I didn't play it for like 3 or 4 days. And then I came back and I was like, what was I doing? Who was what? This is all still so new to me. And that story recap so far, I was like, oh, okay, I remember that. I know exactly where I'm going. I know exactly what I need to do. This is who I met. This is who I'm meeting with. It was fantastic. It's one of those things that we've been wanting in more games. It's nothing worse than like booting up, going back to The Witcher or Fallout or Cyberpunk or any of these massive open world games and being like, what was I doing the last time I was playing? Where am I supposed to go now? And spending 15 minutes figuring that out. And then like, okay, now I can actually play. This does such a great job of getting you right back into the action. Even if that action is walking around to deliver packages.
As far as if people will like this more than the first one, I imagine yes. But only if you like the first one at all. If you hated the first one completely, this won't change that. I had to kind of like, I don't know, the fact that it is not Metal Gear Solid 5 but feels like it kind of caused me to approach it maybe in the wrong way, where I would get like impatient, or I'd want to, and again, it's about like how you're approaching a mission. Like if you're going to go deliver the mail, don't bring a rocket launcher, but if you're going to go take out an outpost, gear up, put guns on your truck, get all stupid. But like, you kind of have to have a conscious idea of what it is you're trying to do with this game. Because if you're trying to get from point A to point B as fast as you can, and you really force it and you're not, equipped for that yet, it might be frustrating. But if you're like, I'm going for a hike, you'll probably have a nice time. You get some music playing, you get a beautiful, gorgeous view. But if you want this to be an action game, it is sometimes, but mostly no. And that's a hard thing to make peace with, kind of.
I feel like I've gotten way more action already, though, in this first game, in the first 5 chapters, than I got for a majority of the first game. Like, I feel like there's, whether it was required or action or the opportunity of finding like stumbling onto a bandit camp and going and taking out that bandit camp. If I wanted to find combat, I've been able to find combat in this game. So one of those moments where I've like, okay, I've been delivering packages back and forth between these same 3 or 4 hubs for the last hour. I want to actually go, take out a camp and loot their supplies so that I can build up my own stuff. I've been able to do that just fine. I think people who are looking for a more action focused thing, like obviously you're not going to get anything near the level of a game that's more focused on action, but I think there is still enough here to keep you entertained in between times if you seek it out. If you go find those optional BTs that Nick was talking about, there's a lot of those types of things. It's just a matter of, are you prepared to take that on at this point in time, or do you have the supplies you need? Is kind of the what you've got to weigh against your choices, versus what you want to do.
The BT boss fights still feel like big sloppy wet messes, because they are. But I will say that everything you can use, every piece of your arsenal feels awesome. Like there's really pretty much every bit of it is like just really tight. Just a very, very fun to use video game weaponry.
I found myself just losing a lot of time, and I'm bringing up time because I want to show off this the Death Stranding watch I got. Yeah, I got to show it off. The folks at Hamilton, they made this. I'm holding up as close as I can to the camera. They got this custom Death Stranding 2 watch that I have on loan right now to show off for all of our fans in case you want to pick this guy up. But it's awesome. There's only 2,000 of them being made. It's got it's from the art director Yoichi Shinkawa, and so very cool. It's got like sapphire glass, titaniums. It's very light. It's very nice, but also very pricey. So if you are a Death Stranding diehard fan, not a Die Hardman fan, but a diehard fan, definitely, take a look at it. You might be a nice timepiece to add to your collection.
There's a pair of sneakers in this game I really want.
There's a few hats I want, a few pair of sunglasses.
I want Sam's pants so bad.
I want a doll man, actually. I would like a doll man.
I dressed my doll man up like the Joker.
I'm glad you actually mentioned Yoji Shinkawa, because I think we fall into the trap of Kojima games of thinking just one man made all this. And he has a big studio, has a big team, and they all did really like this game. Runs flawlessly as well. It looks stunning. Like the systems, like they all interlock. We didn't even mention like the perk system that like reminded me of Nier Automata's like chip system, which is just one of the best. Like it's never an RPG. Yeah, it's never an RPG, but it kind of borderline is sometimes. And especially Yoji Shinkawa, like he cooks so hard at points in this game. Red Samurai is so cool. He instantly reminded me of Cyborg Ninja, who has always been one of my favorite characters from Metal Gear Solid 1. And just some of the designs, even like we didn't even mention Troy Baker, who I think is the standout performance in this. Every time he came on the screen to me, it like lit up. And,
what if
like,
Samus was the Joker?
Exactly. But yeah, I don't really want to say more about Red Samurai because he's a deliberately mysterious character, but just the design of that character is just so cool. And even like all the little mechs he gets to design, Shinkawa, like the art direction style of this game is just is so good. He's just a master.
That's the thing that'll make me forgive when the story doesn't do it for me, is that it's just really cool to look at. Like it is just aesthetically, it is just off the charts. And like, I don't know, we live in a time where like experimental stuff, weird stuff is fewer and far between, and we get a lot of very safe things. We get a lot of sequels. We get a lot of like known quantities. And for something to come out swinging this heavily, being this weird and this out there, I completely forgive the parts that don't entirely stick. And I'm just I applaud it for trying. And good God, Yoji Shinkawa just designs the coolest stuff.
Yes. It's just cool.
It's so good.
We should just embrace weirdness, I think. Like if I want to get on like a little like exactly, if I want to get on like a little, like pedestal, but like we will like, we lost David Lynch recently in film, like, and instantly like the world of cinema gets less interesting because there's not someone doing the things only he would do, right? And the moment Kojima stops making games, like we lose something massive because, there are a lot of, like I said, maybe his name gets overblown in certain conversations and thinking he's this almighty, like only does masterpiece, which I don't think is true, but he is one of the most important and interesting game designers we've ever had.
I think Lynch is
we should embrace
really
weirdness
parallel.
and like give people who have this sort of vision budgets like this. Otherwise we will get the same 3 games a year, and that's sad, I think.
That's boring.
Also, if like some little part of this inspires something entirely normal and more commercially viable, then there you go. There's the payoff.
Exactly.
But, no, like I actually at one point kind of looked at this and I was like, is this just a video game based on the old David Lynch PS2 commercials? Because it's got a bunch of
feel, right? Doll is identical,
right? Yeah. It's weird. It's got like babies in big empty white rooms, and it's very confusing. And you just kind of like, did he just make that? Did he just do that for real? Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. He does like references, and I don't ever feel like this one actually steps too over the line. It's self-referential at times. If you've seen any of the trailers, you'll know certain character looks quite a bit like Snake. But and even maybe some lines are said in this game that you'll recognize. But I kind of chose to embrace it and really buy in. I feel like the more you do that, the more you will get. It's very easy to roll your eyes at something like this, I feel like, but where's the fun in that?
I think some of it is he knows you're rolling your eyes.
It's the point.
It's very much just I have never loved David Lynch's movies. I've always loved the guy. I loved the idea of him, and I respect the hell out of him. And I don't know. It's when I was younger, I would get mad at the idea of things being pretentious, and I would be like, his his movies don't immediately make sense. They fail as narrative, and like I realize I'm kind of leveling a similar criticism at this. But I don't know. At the same time, it's like if we're having this much of a conversation about it, that's art. Like that's
exactly
that's what I love, is that the fact that this has almost like unanimous, just top tier praise across the board on OpenCritic or whatever, kind of bugs me, because it means that
I think it bugs Kojima as well.
Oh, I'm sure it does. But yeah, I mean, dude, piss him off, get him mad, make some even weirder angry art. I don't know. Like, I think that art needs to be subjected to criticism and picked apart and like analyzed. And this inevitably.
So you were saying I was too nice, Max?
You're too nice.
What you're saying. Okay, I do have that problem.
No, but at the same time,
double down on OD. He's going to be doubling down.
Oh yeah. No, I can't. I'm excited to see what he does with that. I think like Death Stranding. Cool, we've gotten 2 of these. It's become a known quantity. Pump the brakes. Go do something else now. I want to see something even stranger. I want to, take it in a new horror direction. But no, like the thing that's really cool is that like this is weirdo art house, pretentious nonsense at times, but it's also like utter technical mastery. Like it is a just quadruple A, extremely polished, incredibly well made video game that is succeeding very well at what it's trying to do. And what it's trying to do might not be for everybody, and I guess that's kind of where I'll leave it.
The polish on this game is insane. I was in a cutscene earlier this morning and I had forgot to take off Sam's sunglasses, which whatever, but I could see as he turned his head, the reflection in the sunglasses was changing. And so like I would see different parts of the room or the character he was talking to. It was just the level of polish in this game is insane. Graphically, it's just gorgeous from start to, I hope, finish. I'm only, like I said, 5 chapters in, but
it will. Yeah.
It's weird. After chapter 11, it just drops to 720p and runs at about 10 frames.
You forgot to render the rest of Australia.
But it's just great. The character performances from everybody is fantastic. I really adore Fragile. Like, she's just a lot of fun any scenes she's in. I love her weird little like ghost gloves around her neck that emote for her.
Cool designs.
It's
and let her smoke.
Yeah,
Kojima understands that no matter how much it might kill you, smoking is cool, and he's never let that go.
I mean, we've been talking a little bit about like, David Lynch and Kojima, and I think what makes someone like David Lynch so special, I'm a huge fan of David Lynch. Surrealist cinema, I think, is one of the purest distillations of what makes cinema interesting as a medium, and I think in that same vein, I think Kojima understands what made video unique, really good at using the medium to tell his story. But I also love that at the bare minimum, he and the team at Kojima Productions are like, well, yeah, this thing needs to run flawlessly at 60 frames per second because it is a video game and it needs to feel good to play. So I can do my weird art house stuff and I can do my like, incredibly dense blocking for my cutscenes, but also the game needs to run at 60 frames per second no matter what.
I'd highly recommend
performance.
Yeah, I'd highly recommend checking out Digital Foundry's like half-an-hour tech breakdown of this game, because it's just, they'll say a lot of words you don't understand, but it's still a good watch.
So does Kojima.
Fantastic job.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's to the art point. You got to learn the rules before you can break them, and it's weird to see somebody like upholding the rules, pushing them forward while also breaking them. Like it's, I don't know, it's you look at any modern artist who does like Picasso or whatever. It's like, yeah, but he also had to do still lifes and regular portraiture. There had to, you dig into any wackadoo artist's early portfolio and it's like considerably more grounded stuff, but it's kind of funny to see this stuff happening in parallel where it's like, yeah, he's getting even better at rendering the, a human being, but also completely out there, just real weird, just doing all sorts of strange stuff.
So other questions we had for the community, this one came in was ended up specifically being pointed towards me because they asked, did any of us platinum it? Which I don't know probably feasible to have done in this time frame from the review period, but there's so much that goes into platinuming like the first.
It's not actually that bad a platinum this time around. I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
You're doing it the right way, Jada, though, because you do have to 5-star every single facility, so you're well ahead of it.
Yeah. Yep. That's why I meant, like, I knew it took a while in the first one because of that. I don't have the platinum in the first one because I just didn't like the first one enough. I was, probably around that 6 to 7 range as well for the first one, but I'm also like enjoying this one a lot more. We'll see how I feel when I hit the credits. Overall score, but it's definitely in that 7 to 8 range, at least for me now. I'm liking it a lot more than I did the first one. But regular contributor in the group, Michael Ham, asking Jada this question is basically asking if she's played it, which very, very fair. I did pick up 3 platinums over my break, but that was for Final Fantasy 2, Final Fantasy 3, and Split Fiction over the break. I picked up 3 platinums for that. So I got 3 instead of 1. So hopefully that counts.
Well, I picked up my front yard. How about that?
Let's see. Other questions. Let's see. From Serge Gronveg, I believe it's how it's pronounced. What was the most surprising change gameplay-wise that we saw? I think, honestly, for me, I think we talked about it earlier. I think it's just how fast that they dole everything out for you. I think it's the biggest change.
Like the first mission in the game gives you an assault rifle.
Yeah.
And I was like, here we go. I was like, but yeah.
I think the big, like the dramatic, like me sitting up in my seat moment was when they're like, you can take off your backpack and set it down to infiltrate a base. I was like, that's, now you're just like, you are giving me free reign to do whatever I want here. And I really, I thought that was a classy touch.
I mean, the gameplay, again, is still sort of rooted in a bit of tedium. That's mechanically what it is. But it does a very good job of kind of massaging that. And I mean, we've kind of made this point a few times over, but like there's less resistance in the wrong places. The basic resistance of gravity and physics and occasionally wet ghosts are still there and very prevalent. But yeah, it just feels a little bit more giving. Something hit me about this game that's kind of meta. I feel like it manages to gamify my 2 biggest complaints about the PS5, which is that, I mean, to install this game, I had to uninstall like 3 other things. So there's storage management. And then there's the fact that this is a game where you're driving your electric truck around and you're off the grid. And it's like, yeah, your battery's about to die. And then your PlayStation goes, your DualSense is about to die. And it's just like, there's a kind of a, Russian nesting doll thing going on there. But yeah.
I just liked how it's a game that is simultaneously about, firing rocket launchers at giant oily whales, but also multiple choice quizzes about platypus semen and platypus eggs. And I still don't know why that exists. And I will never know why that multiple choice quiz exists in this game, but it does.
Another question we got in from Nicholas London. Can you shake the baby? Yes, you can. Like rock Lou to, make him feel at peace, and even get likes from Lou.
If
Lou will give you likes.
If the crying baby, if the Yoshi's Island of it all in the first one drove you nuts, rest assured that is much less of an issue this time around.
Yes.
Though if you fall off a cliff, the baby does not like that very much, and you will have
Doll Man going like, "Oh, Sam, you're bleeding" every 5 minutes. But
see, Chris G. Soto asked, does it shine on the PS5 Pro plus an LG OLED? I don't have a PS5 Pro. Nick, I think you have a PS5 Pro, right?
Can confirm it does shine. So, I mean, again, Digital Foundry does a way more in-depth dive into it, but their rec is, if you are playing on PS5 Pro, you should just play on performance because it's borderline negligible differences visually on Pro, but it will run at 60 perfectly. And then on base PS4, I would just recommend doing the
base PS5,
base PS5. Sorry,
do not try to run this on a base PS4; it will explode.
I'm a big performance boy, but John Linneman does say quality mode is potentially a prep way on base PS5, but on Pro, performance all the way.
I think I've been running quality mode on base PS5, and I haven't noticed any like real dips in frames or anything, and it looks gorgeous. So I think you're fine with either console, but if you got the Pro, I mean, make use of that extra power.
And the high dynamic range on like an LG OLED, I don't need to sing the praises of an LG TV. This isn't branded content, but man, if you have the ability to own an LG TV OLED, highly recommend it with your PlayStation 5 Pro. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous.
We also talked about this a little earlier. Jared Chisano asked, I watched the IGN story so far and was completely lost. Haven't played the first one. Can I jump into 2? I personally, I haven't watched our video so far, just because we made it after I had started the game already. So I'm like, whatever at this point.
It's pretty good.
I think it's fine. Yeah. I'm enjoying it. I'm connecting with a bunch of story beats. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff I don't understand, and they're doing callbacks to characters that were in the first one, and I'm like, who is this person? So eventually I'll go back and either replay the first one and like get that platinum, or watch one of those like 30-minute videos that Cardy's been recommending.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel like you don't need to know everything. You do need to kind of have a good grasp of who Sam, Lou, Fragile, and Higgs, what their relationship is.
Yes.
I would say conversely, you can make peace with the fact that it might not make sense and just kind of roll with it. If you know what, if you had a package delivered at any point during COVID, I feel like you understand the core of this game, which is that people aren't going outside, but they still want to get crap in the mail, and that's what you're there to help with. But yeah, it starts out feeling kind of like it's almost like a fresh start, and then it veers very heavily into like callback territory. So maybe
it's like poetry. It rhymes. It's it's an echo of the first game. Every Kojima game is basically an echo of the game that came before it.
Makes sense. All right, last two ones real quick. Bill Cerebral, does he wear a hat? Yes, he does wear a hat, including one that says "Why me," which I absolutely adore. And
there's a lot of hats in this one.
Oh yeah.
And then Rafael Pereira Goncalves, can you pee? Yes, you can pee. That is back. You can whip it out and pee.
If you see an entire finished monorail that has ratchet mushrooms up there on it, that's probably Jada's work. If you see a little mushroom in the corner, that's probably my handiwork with a Crash Bandicoot next to it. I'm sorry, I had to go.
Also, I don't normally do this, but I highly encourage you to pee on the BTs after you've escaped from them. It's
Is that just your version of teabagging, basically?
No, you get it. In the original game, you would get a trophy for doing it. I promise I'm not being weird. Sam's pee fights off teas, quite literally.
It does. I remember
you get a trophy for it in the first game. I actually don't know if you do in the second.
I don't know if you do. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know the first game you had what like pee and poop grenades that you could throw that you would harvest from. Yeah,
I'm not being crass. This is lore, okay?
Hey, thanks for watching this clip from Beyond, IGN's weekly PlayStation show. You can find the full episode over on youtube.com/IGN Games. And don't forget, new episodes of Beyond drop every Wednesday on IGN.com, the IGN Games YouTube, and all your favorite podcast platforms. Thanks again for watching, and as always, Beyond.